I have kind of a morbid question. How many houses in America do you think have dead bodies in them? Because like the neighbors don't check on each other here. So I'm wondering if someone dies in one of these houses and they never check it out, do they just stay there? How many skeletons really hold up the American suburbia dream? I think the nuclear family is a big part of why the world feels so suffocating right now. For hundreds of thousands of years, the nuclear setup didn't exist. Like everyone lived with their parents, grandparents, uncles, aunts. Like the family was an actual unit and not just three people or four people living in one small box. Like evolutionarily, you are supposed to live with your grandparents. Like that's the whole social role of the grandparents. It's to be information givers. Their purpose is to pass information down to the next generation, and that's why like only few species in the world have grandparents, and all of them are very intelligent species. You need to live with your grandparents. It's like evolution. If you believe in evolution, then you believe in living with your grandparents. So why are people not doing it? The village no longer exists, and the system that replaced it is like the most vulnerable system you can ever put it there. Like literally, it has like one single point of failure. One of the parents gets sick or dies, boom. Now you are an orphan. Now you only have to rely on one guy, and one guy now has to provide for the whole family. Let's not even talk about the emotional weight that comes with just this small of a unit. Suffering is a part of life. Suffering is fundamental to life. And you will always suffer, and there will always be tension between social beings. That's just part of it. To be social is to exist in tension with another one, like to see that you and this other person are different people, but you need to work together. And you're telling me that you have to live with one person who's gonna be your best friend, your financial co-pilot, your co-parent, and your emotional rock. And this one person is the one who's supposed to absorb all of this tension that come up in your life. When is not necessary. Because in a village, you can disperse this tension to so many people. Like you don't have to put it all in one person. That is just torture disguised as love or whatever. I don't know what is the foundation of nuclear family. I don't know. And then there's the domestic trap. You trap women in domestic roles and then turn a blind eye to the amount of labor that these roles have to sustain. And then you put them economically dependent on whoever the breadwinner is, who is also economically dependent on the GDP or whatever the country's metric of success is. Yet, majority of the actual labor that props up this society is done by the women in the domestic sphere. Like the cooking, cleaning, eating. This is what props up society. Man has to eat, man has to live, and man has to uh, apparently cover their body with clothes. But all of these things happen in the domestic sphere. I have a question for you. If you could share a lawnmower with your neighbor, would you still buy your own? Exactly. That's what capitalism wants you to do. The nuclear family is literally just an atomization of consumers. They want as many consumers as possible. And since the only way they can do that is buy separately, they don't want you relying on the horizontal person near you, but they want you to buy your own stuff. You will need to have your own version of everything else. That's capitalism, baby. 10 houses in suburbia America will have 10 lawnmowers, 10 cars, 10 washing machines, um, 10 whatever fuckery you wanna buy. Instead of just sharing, because literally you're not gonna be using your lawnmower every single day. So for like the rest of the month, it's just sitting there when it could have gone and be used by the neighbor. It literally forces you to become a hyper-dependent worker, right? You are a single person responsible for the survival of a whole household. Yeah. And you already have like a mortgage. You have to take care of the kids, blah, 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 blah. You cannot risk quitting your job. You cannot risk going on a protest. You cannot risk doing stuff that actually move the society forward, because you are dependent on the stability of the society and not the stability of the people around you. And that's crazy. And for the Americans, it's quite sad, because this is systemic. It's part of like the American dream. It's literally one of the symbols of the American dream, the nuclear family. And if you look at the roots of it, it is just what's it called, anti-Soviet propaganda. It started as part of the Red Scare, and right now it has become so entrenched in the culture, in the way of life, that everywhere I've moved, I've not met a neighbor. Right now, I'm in like a suburb with so many people. I've not met one neighbor. Why? Because I'm not part of the nuclear family. Why would they give a fuck about me? And this is exactly why people move around here so much. Like, if you ask one American, they have at least moved maybe 2 or 3 times. Because capitalism wants that hypermobility. It wants people who can move around and become workers in different parts of the country. It doesn't want you to be rooted in the land that you're staying in, rooted in the people you're staying with, rooted in just you being part of the ecosystem. It only wants you to be this discrete unit that can be used as energy, that can be used to prop up like cultural propaganda, that can be used for these other things, but not as a human being who actually needs to live. We keep saying humans are social animals, but do you really know what that means? It's that social ties and those social bonds that keep you emotionally healthy and mentally stable. Look, I come from a small village in Kenya, and I usually tell people this, but they don't believe me. But we do not have homeless people where I come from. We have like mentally ill people who like the outside, sure, but we do not have actually homeless people, like people who are stable of mind, but they do not have a place to stay. That doesn't make sense, and that's because there's always this informal safety nets, right? You can always just find somewhere or someone to host you for a bit until you get like somewhere to prop up a building. These layers of defense that come with like having this tight-knit community cannot exist in a nuclear setup. Who's gonna be the other layer once your parents are gone? Because you only live with your parents. And you can see like the root of it. It's this hyper individualistic ethos that follows America in everything it does. They want you to be like entirely self-sufficient, which I guess sounds fun and sounds like something to aspire to, but socially it doesn't make sense, because you live in a society. No man is an island, and I think the culture has made this very psychological. People are now afraid to literally ask for help outside their immediate circle. People have been conditioned to be this one self-sustaining thing that depends on selling its labor to get life, which is not how things should work. That is not ideal for a mentally stable human being, because for hundreds and thousands of years, you evolve to be dependent on the kin, on the next person. You evolve to smile at everybody. And now capitalism is now fighting the nuclear family. It's now trying to cause the nuclear family to fracture further into just unbundled individuals. Like literally right now, today, more people in America live alone than any point in history. And to capitalism, all of these people are just consumers, right? Like they are all just discrete levels of consumption. And to increase that, it needs to increase more people and add more people. Hello, add more people into this file. A single person has his own fridge, his own Wi-Fi, his own subscription services, his own rent, bro. Crazy. And the worst part is they don't even keep the wages high enough to sustain such an isolated way of life. Like it doesn't make sense to have this system and still not pay people enough to sustain the same system. That's the the game of capitalism on. It eats everything. It even eats its own tail. Capitalism, it's a disease that kills its own cells. It's like a cancer or something. The system literally criminalized any other option. Like we literally have cities that implement single family zoning laws, which are just laws to prevent you from having a sustainable community near you. You just have to live the nuclear family dream. You have to live the American dream. You never need to wake up and actually see that this dream is nothing but just a dream. You have to live it. And that's why there's so much homelessness here. Like, it just takes one thing to make you homeless. Just like you are like maybe 2 or 3 steps away from being homeless, and it's wild. It's very painful. My solution is just to kill wage slavery, because wage slavery is the foundation of all of this. Once labor and work was stripped from the community and the person became this one discrete unit of energy, it became possible now for like this kind of unsustainable living to take root. So to make it change, you have to go back to just sharing labor with your neighbors. I think most Americans are still living in the 1950s when, because of government subsidies, you can financially sustain this way of life. But bro, the only thing that is still in the 1950s is the wage you're being paid, bro. The world has changed. The world has become more confusing, and the only thing that could have saved us is the stability of a community and the stability of a large extended family and the wealth of information that comes with just living with your grandparents, bro. Go back to your grandparents' house.